Salutations friends, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be reviewing Musc Immortel from Atelier des Ors. Now I love musky fragrances. Immortel is a beautiful, very distinctive floral note and scents that I love seeing utilized and kind of put on a pedestal. And I think what Atelier des Ors does with this note and this fragrance in particular is really stunning. So I'm very excited to review this fragrance for you. So if you would like to know what I think about this, and I want to show you guys the bottle because a lot of people know what this bottle looks like, but it's just so beautiful. It's so pretty. Anyway, if you'd like to know what I think about this fragrance, then keep watching. For transparency purposes, I'd like to let you guys know where I got a bottle of perfume. This was a purchase. It was no way given to me to review. It wasn't a gift. This was a fragrance that I sought out. So first things first, Atelier des Ors Musc Immortel is just, again, let's look at this bottle. The presentation of this is just stunning. It really is a beautiful experience. In a lot of cases, presentation doesn't match like the juice. It's just kind of like this is how the presentation looks for the entire line. But I'm going to tell you right now, this particular fragrance, like if you look at the color of this juice, that's pretty much what it smells like, and I really enjoy it. There are three specific notes in this scent that I'm going to be very much emphasizing, but all the notes in this scent, or at least the important notes in this scent, you have grapefruit, clary sage, there's also some vetiver in there, some Haitian vetiver, it's nice and dry. You also have Immortel, iris, there's patchouli, and there's Ambrette in there, which I love, as well as musk. I think the most important notes are going to specifically be the iris, the ambrette, the immortel, and the musk. Now I think what Atelier des Ors does with iris is just phenomenal. I love how they utilize this beautiful, very distinctive note in ways where even if it's not front and center, it plays a very important role. And I think what it does in this fragrance is spectacular. Now Immortel is a floral note that to me kind of borderlines more on kind of like a sweet, dry, aromatic kind of note, not like a rose or like a white floral. Kind of reminds me more of, say, like an iris or a violet. It has very distinctive characteristics, has very real ways that it smells, and it can be beautiful as a way to kind of emphasize different types of compositions, or when it's set center stage, it's just phenomenal. And I like that in my mind, I could be wrong, you guys could disagree with me. Immortel and iris are very conflicting in regards to Immortel's more broomy, dry, honey, can sometimes smell a little bit tobacco-y, like dry tobacco-y to my nose. Iris to me can be very powdery, very sweet, and I also just kind of really like how it's also very aromatic, but also depending on how it smells, it can kind of smell kind of semi-fruity and also kind of buttery. So what I like about Musc Immortel from Atelier des Ors is that it's really showcasing this soft, powdery iris, but in a way that doesn't conflict with this beautiful Immortel. And I think that, in my opinion, the note that really helps that is the ambrette. And I love ambrette. Ambrette is just one of those notes where if you kind of smell it on its own, or you smell it as it being center stage, it's almost like chamomile. It can be very polarizing. But I think in this fragrance, instead, it works really well to kind of emphasize the beautiful, dry, soft sweetness of the Immortel, and kind of helps make this beautiful kind of slightly animalic, musky note come in, and just, it kind of like blends them together beautifully while still being there and just front and center. It's just, I love ambrette so much. So this fragrance opens up with a slight bit of brightness from the grapefruit, but you're gonna get more of a powdery iris. Actually, the iris is most predominant, like I'd say, within the first hour. It is very musky and dry in the opening, but I do think that the iris is a little bit more center stage, but it is there start to finish. And when this fragrance kind of dries down, at least on my skin, the Immortel comes out a little bit more and it becomes more musky. But it's a very light kind of sheer musk, a very easily able to understand musk, not like a challenging, animalic, overpowering musk. It's very light and very pleasant. Now the ambrette in here is beautiful, but I think that the vetiver adds a little bit of a grassy dryness, which again works really well with the characteristics of the Immortel flower. I think the ambrette works to kind of soften the musk, and the vetiver works to kind of tone down the Immortel a little bit, but not in a way where it's really creating conflict with the way that these notes work and smell, just with their distinctive characteristics. it's elevating, not detracting from their beauty. So this opens up a slightly bright, powdery iris. It's a little bit kind of a stale powder fragrance, but I think that that's more dry, and again, that works really well with this fragrance. And the Clary Sage adds a tiny bit of earthiness too, which I think also works very well with the Ambrette. This is a very bright fragrance. This is a very sunshiny fragrance without being your stereotypical bright scent. I like how it's really focusing more on soft aromatics, dry sweetness, and kind of like a beautiful effervescent muskiness. Everything in here just works really well and is very well balanced and comes together to create something that's really pretty and very wearable. So I find this to be a very, very effervescent fragrance. And I know a lot of people hate the word effervescent and think it's overly used, but I think that's a great way to describe this scent. Sometimes very dominant musky fragrances can smell heavy, they can smell animalic, they can smell sharp, they can smell overtly chemically or synthetic. With this fragrance, it's very light and sheer on the skin, and the Immortel has a real presence in regards to it being broomy, kind of slightly dry, and kind of like grassy hay, you know, kind of like that dry hay smell, which is really, really nice. I think this fragrance doesn't smell sweet, but it has some fragrances in here that can have a mimicking sweetness. The Immortel has that kind of honey-like dryness to it, where you kind of pick up whiffs of sweetness without it being sweet. And I think that again works really well with the iris, which doesn't make it smell too pale, but a little bit more powdery. At the end of the day, there's a lot of complexity in this fragrance, which you don't really feel. It feels more effortless and easy. It's a gorgeous fragrance to wear, especially in summertime, especially if you enjoy kind of more dry aromatic scents, but you have a hard time wearing those types of fragrances based on your environment. And that's why I've really been enjoying this. I like animalic fragrances. I like fragrances that are challenging. I like fragrances that have layers and nuances to them. But sometimes in the depths of summer, in the depths of heat and humidity, you kind of, those get muddy and they get lost, and so you kind of have to wait for it to be a little bit cooler or a little bit drier in order to wear those fragrances. But this one actually shines. It's not a complex fragrance in a way that you're going to be able to pick up 50 different notes and it's going to tell a crazy long story on your skin of an opening of flowers and fields, and then delving into the jungles of like animalic musks, patchoulis, and different types of aromatic herbs. It's a very beautiful, very wearable fragrance that smells just perfect. And I think that's because it's really utilizing this idea of a soft, sweet, aromatic dryness with a beautiful, effervescent muskiness, and really focusing on a gorgeous flower that deserves to be center stage, and I think is given a perfect pedestal in Musc Immortel. So I wanted to share with you guys my review of this fragrance because I do love this very much. I do think it's a fantastic fragrance. And as a musk lover, I think it's something that is a very wearable everyday scent, which still has a lot of beautiful artistry to it and a lot of really smart choices too. So that's my basic review of Musc Immortel from Atelier de Ors, but I also want to talk a little bit about the projection, longevity, and just general performance of that scent because it's very important for a lot of people. Also, if I'm looking down, like I said, this is a beautiful bottle. I am a goldfish, and this is just like grabbing my attention all the time, so I'm sorry if I keep looking down. The general performance of this fragrance I think is really nice. This is a fragrance that has about social distancing length of projection, so it is going to kind of radiate off your skin, and I find that the most pleasant part of this experience has to be just how it smells like to myself. So I do know that it does have a beautiful, very light but very present aura to it. It's very billowy, very light, very pretty. But at the same time, this is a fragrance that I don't go nose blind to. I get to enjoy while I'm wearing it, so I just really love smelling this on my skin, and just based on how much I love smelling it, I'm sure other people like smelling it on me too. It just smells really, really nice. I will say longevity of this is pretty good. I get about 6 to 8 hours. Again, I live in a very hot and humid environment, so that's very good for me. And this does leave a little bit of sillage, a tiny little bit of a sexy little trail to it, so I do really enjoy this as well. This fragrance leans along the more unisex side. I would say it's not masculine leaning or feminine leaning unisex. There are aspects of this that I find to be kind of sweet and floral. So, you know, if you think about the types of fragrances that are marketed to women, you definitely have those. But I think the Immortel's like grassiness, the dryness of it, the muskiness, and the Ambrette, I think can also pull it a little bit more towards fragrances you see on the masculine side. And I think that since those partner together so beautifully, it's just a definitively unisex fragrance that if you're a man or a woman and you prefer wearing just feminine fragrances or just masculine leaning fragrances, I think you could wear this one no problem. At the end of the day, Musc Immortel from Atelier de Ors is a beautiful scent, a scent I've been wearing a lot and really loving. And if you like Immortel, if you like dry, sweet fragrances that aren't sugary, and you want something musky, good for summer, definitely check out this fragrance. It's really, really beautiful. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it. And as always, guys, don't forget to like my video and subscribe to my channel if you like this type of content. I like to bring you guys fragrance-related reviews, discussions, and chit-chats. So if you like that comment, there is a subscribe button below. And also don't forget to hit that little bell on your way out so that you can be notified when I have new videos. As always, thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you next time.